Welcome to the Church of Jesus Christ. Our sermon today probably ties in just a little bit with that song. No, probably ties in a lot of bit with that song. But a little verse I heard within the singing, I think. Please don't accept this as a quote, but it's close to it. My earnest prayer each day, Lord, is that you have your way in me. Again, I don't know if I got that right, but it's the part where Sister Carolyn was singing. And as she said that, I thought, Amen. Yes, have your way with me. Let me submit to you. Let me be your representative in this life. And as I heard that and heard that message, that verse, excuse me, in the song, I said that for each of you in my mind. Let you have, or Lord, have your way with every one of us. Today's message is you're right. Let me repeat that. Today's message is you're right. And I love that I leave it out there twice so that you're interpreting what that means right now. All of you are coming to conclusions. All of you are deciphering that, probably breaking it apart a little bit and coming to a conclusion. You're right. My prayer for this message is probably a little lofty, but it's this that today's message on some level will save us all. That's it. That's all. It'll save us all. And so that we understand, not saved in the most basic of spiritual terminology, but saved in the most basic of spiritual terminology. So when we hear saved, you may run to certain churches in your upbringing, or maybe even now you think of certain churches who use that phrase. And while ultimately that's a prayer for all of us, that's really not the only focus I have today. Certainly, that this adds to that outcome for each one of us, but that's not what I mean by this. I mean saved along the way, whether it be, if you will, whether it be relationships, whether it be communications, whether it be interactions, whether it be representations of Jesus Christ, saved in each of these. There's a great line in the movie Titanic. Not that it matters, but it's where Rose says something about Jack. And as an older woman, she's reflecting on the impact of this chance meeting with a young man for just but a few days. But she said, he saved me in every way a person could be saved. Whatever that is, that's what I mean. That's what I mean today, that this message saves us in such ways. You're right. This is a phrase that's both um, it's both empowering and debilitating. It's it's freeing and imprisoning. So we're gonna make our way. I hope we're gonna navigate through some of that and maybe land in spaces that you say, oh, okay, now I get it. So let's give you an example. Again, our theme is you're right. Let's give an example of someone who was wrong. And Sister Patty, I hope you won't mind if I use myself. Again, just sorry. I'm having fun with you. That's all. I'm going to use myself as the example of he who is wrong. I may have told one of these stories, or two of these stories, or three of these stories. I'm going to shorten them down quickly. But I may be repeating a story or two in different instances, but not in this manner. I met Brother Michael, but Brother Michael, don't panic. This is not about you. This is about me. But I met Brother Michael at a camp out in 1975. And we left from that place and went our own separate ways, only to be rekindled in this setting, which is just lovely. But after that 1975 camp out that changed my life completely, where I asked for my baptism and was told to go back to my branch and finish up there and be baptized there, which I did not do. which I did not follow up with in any sense of the word, but my spirit was stirred. My life was changed. And while I didn't have the follow through to take action, I had the follow through that my everything was changing within me in the way I looked at things and looked at God. And so when you have this in you, you want to tell everybody. So I was walking home one day after school. Um, I can't remember why, because I didn't walk home from school. I didn't walk to or from, but I was walking home this day. And there was a classmate that I had some relationship with, not a tight relationship, but we knew each other. And he was walking, so we walked together. And on the way, I was again filled with this excitement that I had found at this camp out. And I started to tell him a little bit about that. He had told me about his church and some of the things he was enjoying. So I countered with my own experience. And when I did, he began to ask me questions. And I quickly found that I was ill prepared and unable to answer. I don't know if I answered a single one. I'm hard on myself. So I'd say I didn't answer a single one, but maybe I did. But it doesn't matter, because following that conversation, I left unfulfilled. But knowing I had told someone, so I felt right in my approach. I felt right in my enthusiasm. Probably about 2 years after I was baptized, I had two close friends in West Palm Beach at the time. We're just going to say Bob and Mark. That's all. And we were sitting in Bob's car, which was again, this is the 1970s. So young people, you have to Google this. Those my age or older will remember unfondly when I say we were sitting in Bob's Pinto in front of my house. And the three of us were talking at length. I want to be sure that I say this at length. Bob was raised Baptist and was loyal and faithful to all that he was. Mark was attending church in his mom's church and very committed to that as well. I only say it that way because I don't know if Mark had made any type of commitment to the Lord at that point in his life. And we began to talk about our backgrounds. We began to talk about our spiritual backgrounds, but more an indicator, our religious backgrounds, not necessarily our spiritual backgrounds. And so we began to identify our differences. We began to identify the church in which we called home. And while it was not a conflict of any sort, it was certainly a debate. And it was one in which all three of us seemed intended or purposed on making sure the other ones knew our church was the right church. And that's how the conversation went. Again, no friendships were severed, but we were very, very focused on making a case for our beliefs and our beliefs being right. And quite candidly, at the end of that, I felt I had won the debate. I remember leaving there thinking, oh, yeah, I told them all about the truth. I told them all about the church, and the effects will be great here. When Candace and I lived in Fort Lauderdale, story 3, when Candace and I lived in Fort Lauderdale, we must have been tagged. Our home must have been tagged by a visit earlier. But we were tagged by a handoff, and I hope some of you who have this experience will understand. It began with two young Mormon elders, white shirts, black ties, visiting our house, door knock, and I answered it, and we talked at length about the two churches. And as time went on, new two elders would show up. And I now know the situation. They get redistricted or sent somewhere else, and then two more come in. So our name must have been on a list. And so I had these in-depth conversations with at least 4 sets of 2 elders at a time. And each time I took it as an opportunity to go back and forth and hone in on skills. Anyway, so I don't want to go too far into that because I'll either start tearing myself down or picking myself up, neither of which will result in anything good. So these conversations were ongoing for probably 5 years, 10 years. I don't know what it was, but multiples came to the house. And I had a distinct advantage. I knew who they were. They didn't necessarily knew who I was. I knew their church and their beliefs. They didn't know mine. And so I took it as an opportunity to go back and forth. And again, at the end of it, I felt right. And on a sad, pathetic level, I felt I had won these debates. All three of these stories end the exact same way. My feeling right, and not a single one of the other individuals ever stepped foot in the Church of Jesus Christ. I may have won a debate. I may have, and I may not have, by the way. That may be just egotistically, I thought I had won. I should not judge my own contests, but I was. And I took it on myself to judge those, and I found I had won. And later, in a clearer look at myself, I found I hadn't won anything. I was right. Or so I said, I was right. Our theme today is you're right. The message is a simple one, you're right, but sometimes simplicity can grow and run certainly much deeper than it appears. This phrase, you're right, is what so many people desire to hear. You're right. Whether we're in a discussion about our churches, our religions, whether we're in a discussion about politics, whether we're in a discussion with our family, even about memories. Do you remember when? Well, that's not how it happened. And then you wait, pause, wait for those words. Oh, that's right. You're right. And it just washes over you. I'm right. I'm right. And this, you identify that this phrase, you're right, is a very powerful phrase. Many people, I don't want to do a we thing here. I'll just say, generally speaking, many seek this phrase out. It's as I look at Sister Patty and I think of Frank, I think every attorney in the world wants to hear this phrase, you're right. And the gavel come down. Every person who's been in a discussion one-on-one with someone for whatever reason wants to hear that phrase, oh, you're right. Now I speak to the married couples and the married couples only. Every married couple has been in a discussion. He says, whitewashing your discussions. And we all have these discussions with one purpose, to hear those two words. You're right. I will just, in defense of all involved, rarely do we come to the end of any of those discussions and hear those two words, you're right. But we still are hopeful that someday we'll hear that phrase in these discussions in our coupling. But it's every relationship, it's every interaction, it's every communication. If it goes back and forth, we wait to hear those words, those two words that can release us, that can free us. You're right. I told you I did my own assessment and felt vindicated, validated, maybe even valued, believing I was right. With all of those conversations I spoke to, none of them have any evidence of my rightness. There were no results. There was no measurable results to say I was right. No one said that to me. No one said, I want to see what it is you're talking about. I want to come and visit. Never once. So is hearing you're right really that important? I don't know, because at age 67 years old, I'm still in every conversation waiting to hear you're right. We get in these conflicts. Some of them are for 10 minutes. Some of them are for 10 days. Some of them may even become conflicts that last a lifetime, waiting to hear you're right. And I wonder, with my own conclusions in my head, because I'm going to leave that as you wonder too. I wonder if we are representing, as we should, as we're called to do when we get in such discussions, wanting to hear you're right. Because while I may soften the presentation of these discussions, they are clearly arguments in many cases. They are conflicts that go on in many cases. And I know my own personality, and I know the personalities of those sitting across a Pinto from me, or sitting across a living room from me, or sitting across a table, a conference table from me in my life. And I know, though no one confesses this openly, that both parties, all parties, are waiting for the same two words. You're right. On a very base level, um, it is thought that most people desire to hear those words. Not that anyone needs the ranting of a madman, but this madman will rant just for a moment. It is said, I did a deep dive into this, way too deep to talk about here, but I did a deep dive into the subject of the need to be right. Because I feel like we are so pulled apart on so many levels in so many facets of our lives. Whether you go on social media and you'll see a post, what do you think of this person? And the spewing just goes. It goes. I normally do not go down the list of comments. I may read one or two and then I say, ooh, I got to get out of this. Because already my heart and my head and my spirit hurt just from seeing the comments. So biting. But I know, repeat, just said differently all the way down. Yes and no, back and forth, right and wrong, all the way down, making their cases, all wanting, all believing that they are expressions of their rightness. And so it is, I think that we're proving ourselves as a people to fall prey to what I'm speaking to today. So I feel comfortable saying all of this. So the rantings of a madman have a little bit of backup to them. It is said that we form this need as young people, as children, where we give answers, even in our classrooms, maybe on little papers that we fill in and turn in. The right answers are applauded. The wrong answers are big red X, right? In some form or another, somehow we're told you're wrong. And that feels terrible. It feels terrible at 6. It feels terrible at 26. It feels terrible at 66. It feels terrible to be told you're wrong. And so at an early age, this is said to have been placed in our hearts and in our minds that we want to be right. The problem with wanting to be right, and I'm not going to rant long at all, I promise you. And I'm going to describe something and you're going to say, yeah, that's true about them. But I want you to say, yeah, that's true about me too. But it's going to be easier for all of us to say them rather than me, rather than us. We dig in on these things, whatever they are, the smallest of things, the largest of things. We dig in our rightness. And we don't often pursue whether or not there's another opinion, another yes, another right, or if either is even important. Because in everything, rarely are there two, if you will, rights. There can be some opinions that are right and wrong. There can be some information given, but to the end result, Either you make a left turn here or you make a right turn. Can't be, you can make a left and then make a right, or you can make four lefts and you end, or three lefts and you end up turning right. You can do that too. You can validate kind of everything, but I don't want to go that route. I want to go to the route of the presentation, how we are presenting ourselves, how we don't want to fall prey to the need to be right. That's what I want more than anything else today, that we fight those natural needs. They may feel innate, but they probably are learned behaviors. I'm going to turn us quickly to the Word of God. There is a great scripture found in the Word that I'm not going to read, but I'll tell you where it is. It's Luke, the 18th chapter. I'm not going to read it because you know it. So I'm just going to tell you. There is one who, in this parable of Jesus Christ, there is one who says, "Oh, I'm so thankful that I'm so blessed. Oh, I'm so thankful that I'm so close to you, Lord. Oh, I'm so thankful for how you continue to see me and continue to favor me. I pray to you, Lord," and this is all done out loud and openly. And then there's another example that Jesus Christ gives to the one who humbles himself and breaks their spirit and confesses their sins. "I am but a beggar before you, Lord." And the Lord favors, obviously, that second one. He who feels right is rejected. He who is open to their lack thereof is embraced by the Lord. I want us to consider in all things, in every situation, in all interactions, which is the preferred spirit to bring to those circumstances. It's important to note that everything matters. It's important to note that every conversation is a critical one. Despite our maybe discounting or discarding a one-on-one, because in doing so, we are discarding the other person. Jesus Christ honored, always paid attention. I remember when I started in a job and I took over the office, and in this particular case, the owner of the company was subservient to me in my role. And so quickly asked for an assessment, what he was doing right or wrong. And the wrongness that I pointed out was he was never present. Never. I don't know if you've had this discussion, this experience with someone where even in a discussion, they're looking over your shoulder or they're looking past you. They're looking for a better opportunity. They're looking for someone else to talk to. They're not paying attention. Rarely do they even make eye contact with you. I would venture to say and feel very comfortable that I'm right. Sorry. I would venture to say that Jesus Christ was always fully focused on whoever was in front of him, fully present. And so we want to be those people that are honoring whoever it is interacting with us and not looking past. Because by looking past, what we're telling someone subconsciously, without knowingly doing this, is you are not as important as the opportunity of someone more important behind you. Rather than you are the most important person in my world in this moment. I remember an instance that I had, again, another example of someone who failed. Remember a time I was talking to a couple, and in the middle of the conversation, the woman said, "Are you still with us?" It was, I cannot tell you the humiliation of that moment for me, because no, I wasn't. I was somewhere else in my mind. And I note about myself as I get older, because I'm fearful I'm not going to remember 3 seconds ago. and someone will say something to me, and I'll quickly take a right turn. There's a pretty butterfly, and I'll venture away so I remember what I want to say back to them. There's a phrase that says we listen to talk rather than listening to gain. I'm just letting you talk because as soon as you end, the second you pause, I'm jumping in because I don't want to forget this. Not present. And in this moment with this young lady, I was guilty as charged. I've been doing something with Candace that is so frustrating. She'll start to tell me about something she's experienced, maybe a pain or something else, and I'll quickly say, "Oh, me too." And then I'll zoop, hijack the whole conversation. Not present. I was present in that moment when she started to tell me, but it only gave me a presence in the conversation, and I began to talk, listening to talk. And Candace, if you're out there, I'm trying. I'm going to try to get this one fixed quickly so that you realize I love you and I'm paying attention to you. I'm going to read some scripture to you because what we want to do is assure that we're not just trying to be right. And then I'm going to make a case for why. Isaiah 64, 6th verse says this, so that we don't have to make cases for ourselves. So we don't have to become, as some of the things I read this week said, we don't have to become defensive or aggressive or conflicting with the other person. Listen to this. We are all of us, says Isaiah, we are all as an unclean thing, and our righteousness are as filthy rags. We all do fade as a leaf, and our iniquities, like the wind, have taken us away. This is so poetic and so beautifully stated. All of us, when we are inhabited by our righteousness, that's what Isaiah was speaking to, the rightness we feel when we're not necessarily right at all. Just flitter away, crumble. You ever pick up a leaf that's already starting to die? It's brittle, and so you can take that same leaf and just swirl it in your hand, and it just crumbles out of your hand. That's what our rightness equates to. These conversations I told you about, where I felt so right, like a leaf, crumbles in your hand, resulting in nothing. Our rightness is so unimportant. Romans 10 says this, for they being ignorant of God's righteousnesses and going about to establish their own righteousnesses have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God. I think that this verse is perfect. It's perfect. Being ignorant of God's righteousness because we're so enwrapped in our own, going about to establish our own rightness, we never really embrace His. I don't believe this about any one of you, but I believe in moments any one of us are subject to this mindset. When I feel so right, I don't necessarily ask for His confirmation. I'm already right. Colossians says this, put on, therefore, as the elect of God, I'm speaking to every single one of you. You have not chosen him, I have chosen you, said Jesus the Christ. Elected, selected, chosen of God. Now that we've established who he's speaking to, let me start again. Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering. In nearly none, and I'm only softening it because I'm leaving a little bit of a loophole for myself. In none of these conversations do I think I was exhibiting the bowels of mercy. I was trying to win. Now, maybe masked in win for God, maybe hiding behind that I'm doing God's work, but I'm telling you, the results became zero. So was I really, or did I just want to be right? I want you to consider your presentations to others. I want you to value your spouses, your children, your family, your friends, your co-workers, your classmates, the people passing before you, but for a moment. I want you to value them all so that your intention is not to win, but to win for God. Two different things. And I had the audacity to pretend to win for God when really I just wanted to win. I just wanted to be right. Romans 12 says this: be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love. This is not single on just those who have accepted Jesus Christ. This is not single focus targeted on only the saints of the Lord Jesus Christ. Everyone your brother, everyone your sister, everyone you come in contact with, be kindly affectioned to them. In honor, preferring one another. If my intention is to be right, I am not preferring whomever it is that I'm speaking to in that moment. I want you to consider this message. This message, this two-word message, you're right. I believe that even when I said that, some of you felt a little warm and fuzzy inside. Ooh, I like this. I like this. This is one of my favorite messages I've heard for a while. I'm right, he said. But the brother up front said, I'm right. I have been fully endorsed. Or not. 1 Corinthians, I'm not going to read much more. 1 Corinthians says, let all your things be done with charity. 1 Corinthians 16:14, if you care. Our theme today is, you're right. The reason, I don't know, I'm going to try to kind of twist and turn and try to say this. The reason you don't have to be always right is because you're always right. But it's you may not be always right in every situation, but you're right, if you will, despite every situation. And I know that feels like what is he talking about? It's because you have to change where and what you're looking at. And English major, sorry, at which you're looking. Sorry, I apologize. You have to change perspective. The fight is never, never, never on earthly things. The fight is always on spiritual things, if you will. Because he already promised us we're going to win. So why is this battle that might cause someone else to lose everything so important to me? If we get our focus where it should be, these smaller little battles really don't matter. It's presentation. It's how we're interacting with others. Are we losing them to win? I always go back to the whole armor of God that begins by telling us we don't fight against flesh and blood. We fight against principalities and powers, meaning it's not me versus whomever that is. It's that someone is trying to disturb this connection. Some evil resource, or better yet, some evil source is trying to destroy this connection. It's not flesh and blood. It's as Job found in his writing. It's God fighting for his soul. It's the evil one fighting for his soul, constantly conflicting. It's not Job versus the situation. It's not you versus the situation. It's you despite the situation, choosing God, choosing Jesus Christ, choosing that other individual, choosing to love, choosing to be merciful, choosing to be generous and gentle. That's what this is about. There are times my emotions get the best of me, like anybody. There are times that I want to win, like anybody. But that doesn't mean I accept that status of like anybody. We are the very elect. And if we're going to accept that without blinking when I say to you the very elect, then we have to react and respond by those who are the very elect. What have we been chosen to do? Who have we been chosen to represent? It's no longer representing my needs. It's no longer me wanting to win for me. It's wanting to win for him. It's submitting myself, humbling myself, taking on what he wants me to take on, servitude for all others. And then we win. And then truly we can live to the title of this, our theme today, You're Right. Your right doesn't have to do with an argument. Your right has to do with representing Jesus Christ. It is a glorious calling. It is a challenging calling. It is a worthy calling in spite of our unworthiness. And that's why your right and your wrong coexist in all of us. My rightness equals 0. His rightness in me equals everything. And when I finally understand that, humility, submissiveness, servitude, when I relent and give in to that rather than a prideful need to be something for my gain, rather than to be something for his gain, when I finally give in and understand all of that, then maybe in that moment and in the moments to come, if I can maintain and sustain, then truly I can live to the title of our theme today, You're Right. And so can each one of you. May the Lord bless each one of you.